Hey there! Welcome to APVA's member-centered event. Hang out with us today as we chat with members of the community, addressing the challenges of the typical African creative.
Hi everyone, good evening. It's a beautiful privilege to be here this evening to talk about what we do talk about in APVA. When I say what we talk about, we have a couple of programs that we put out from time to time, and tonight it's all about Hangout with APVA. So it's a pleasure to be hosting everyone, and I'm saying welcome to you all. This is actually the first edition of Hangout with APVA for 2023, and we decided to talk about something that I feel it's important for us to look at when we're starting the year, which is the latest trends and innovation in the creative industry, right? It's 2023, the 21st century is ripening, and the innovations that we're seeing, they're just at a scale that we did not see coming. I remember 10, 20 years ago, we probably watched movies like Terminator or Star Wars and stuff like that. And the way they predicted the future, they would say 2023, and the things that they predicted aren't what it is today. Technology has really become smarter than what they were able to predict. It's like, although we don't see flying cars here and there, but then the age of technology, the age of intelligence is something that is before us right now. And whether we like it or not, it has an impact in our industry as well. And that's the creative industry. And so we decided to look at this topic. And it's my pleasure to be your host. My name is Tolulope Kolade, aka T Code. I'm a voiceover artist, a podcaster, a media enthusiast, and a creative partner at APVA. And I am the host for this event, Hangout with APVA today. I'll be hosting this alone for today. Felicia Oyeniran, who would have been hosting me with me as well, she couldn't make it for the event. So hopefully she can still join. However, we'll be doing this together. So one of the things that I would say is, as you've joined right now, I would like you to share this link with your friends or on your timeline so we can have people join us and be a part of this space tonight. We have great guests that will be speaking, and I'll let everyone speak. Allow me to just finish up with the introduction, and then I'll bring us up, one after the other. And for those who don't know, in case you're just listening to this, because I know the space is recorded and some people would listen afterwards. So you might be listening and hearing about APVA for the first time, and you're wondering what or who is APVA. Well, APVA is an association, and it is the Association of African Podcasters and Voice Artists, a community-driven organization that seeks to discover, amplify, and celebrate African voice or audio creatives. Now, we're dedicated to fostering the growth and development of the audio creative industry in Africa. And to deepen our mission is why we host sector-specific events like today's event, Hangout with APVA. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this Twitter space. And it's a pleasure for me to be your host. One of the things I'd like to let you know is very soon, as the speakers talk and all of that, after a while, I would allow people to join in as speakers so you can ask questions and make contributions so that we can have the room to be as interactive as possible and a very wholesome learning experience. So let me move to my guest or to our guest today, who will be talking about the latest trends and innovation in the creative industry. We've got three guests, amazing personalities already here. First person is Ayo Moore. We also have Desire Asonye, and we also have Gina Tigere. Ayo, if you can hear me, kindly unmute your mic. How are you doing this evening?
Hi everyone, hi Ticode. Hey everyone, I'm good. I'm doing okay, doing well. Happy New Year to everyone.
Cool.
Everyone is doing fine too.
Okay, great. It was not that easy to hear you, but I'm thinking I should switch to my headphones. Probably I'll hear you clearer. So just okay. All right, and I hope you
Is this
can.
better?
Okay, it is better. I don't know. Maybe it's because I just switched to my headphones, but whichever way it
Yeah,
is.
I just switched to mine also. I took off my headphones rather, so maybe maybe it's just a little glitch.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Great. So let me do a bit of introduction of who you are for those who are, joining and they're hearing the name Ayo More for the first time. Ayo is the creative director at More Audio, and he's an award-winning copywriter with over 10 years of experience in the creative industry. He has worked on many brands, including Quickteller, InterSwitch, Lipton, Close Up, MTN, Danu, just to name a few. A radio expert that has been in the audio creative industry and has created an audio production company called More Audio. Is also the host of he created the One Take podcast. He was recently nominated as a judge for the ninth Voice Arts Award in Hollywood. And Ayo claims to change the way people, or aims rather, to change the way people perceive audio and help rebrand or brand ventures into the world of audio. So it's great to have a personality like Ayo. Ayo, nice to have you here once again.
Thanks a lot. Great to be here.
Yeah. All right, let me talk to Gina before I come to Desire Asonye. Gina, how are you doing? Good evening. Hi, Gina, can you hear me? Okay. Okay, maybe I'll come back to Gina. Oh, Gina, you have unmuted your mic. How are you doing? Good evening, Gina. Okay, I can't hear Gina right now, so I would engage Desire. Desire Asonye is the implementing partner for APVA. Desire, if you're there, unmute your mic. How are you doing this evening, Desire?
Hi, good evening. I'm very well. It's great to be here.
Great,
Uh,
great to have you
I'm
here
very well.
too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
thinking about. Okay, first of all, how would you like to be addressed? Is it Desire? Desire is a very unique name, right? So, do they call you Desire, or
Yeah, that's my name.
and that's what everybody calls you?
Yeah, that's my name.
Wow, your partner must be jealous hearing everybody call you Desire. Yeah, so welcome on board, Desire. Desire is
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I just take your profile. I read it. Desire is a skilled audio engineer with more than 10 years of experience in the audio production, sound design, and audio in reinforcement. He's also an expert in creating videos and a web analytics enthusiast. He runs Resound Desire, a company that specializes in podcast production and other audio related work in Abuja, Nigeria. And he specializes in creating quality records and music. He has worked with A-list individuals and companies in the entertainment industry and has accumulated a wealth of experience working in various capacity. That's a big deal, Desire. So it's nice to have you here, and I'm sure that you've got great stuff to share with us about the creative industry.
Well, I believe I do. Thank you so much.
Can't wait to
I'll do
engage
my
you. Can't
best.
wait to engage you. Let me talk to Gina.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I've got Desire from Abuja. Ayo should be in Lagos if I'm not mistaken, but Gina is in South Africa. So Gina, if you can hear me, unmute your mic. I just want to engage you quickly before we get into the crux of today's space. Hi, Gina. Gina left the room. I guess she's finding it hard to connect. So I'll hope that she can reconnect and we enjoy, you know, this room together. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Those are our guests. Oh, let me just introduce Gina before I get into engaging our guests. So, Gina Tigere is a young entrepreneur from South Africa. She is passionate about empowering underprivileged individuals and addressing poverty within the African community. She has founded Be Digital Creative, a digital transformation agency that helps small businesses grow and she has expertise in digital marketing, sales, filmmaking, and TV production. She also hosts a self-help podcast called A Thousand Voices podcast. So Gina, also a podcaster and a digital creator. She'll be joining us as soon as she gets a hang of our internet. Oh, Gina is back. Okay,
Yes, I'm back. Can you guys hear
great.
me clearly?
I can hear you. Great to have you here,
Okay,
Gina.
perfect.
How you
I
doing?
actually had, I'm good. I think I had like 20 open applications. So, these devices sometimes they let you down, but I had to shut down everything now. I'm back. I'm so happy to be here. And thank you once again for this opportunity. Yeah, my name is Gina. You already introduced me, so there's no need to say more. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yes, we are happy to have you, Gina. Well, so let's get into the conversation talking about the latest trends and innovation in the creative industry, right? Like I said earlier, a lot has been happening, and it's time for us to start talking about these things and how they affect us. Are they good for us? Yes, they are. Are they bad for us? Maybe. How can we take advantage of these innovations, and what are the trends that we see? I'll start with Ayo Moore, who is a copywriter and a production expert. Ayo, if you're there, unmute your mic. Let's talk about this together.
All right.
All
Okay.
right, great. So Ayo, what I love you to start with is to share with us, you know, um, your experience as a storyteller, and you can talk about your growth process and how you've been able to maximize some of these innovations and trends within your reach. So you can highlight some of these things, I mean, innovations that
Okay. Cool.
that was helpful, in you getting to where you are today.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Can you hear me clearly first and foremost?
Yes, very clearly.
Oh, great. Okay, great. Twitter Spaces always fails me, so good to know. um, so yes, name is Ayo Mo. Just like you read out, I'm a copywriter by training. I've been in advertising for quite a bit. I think I like to backtrack a bit. I'm a graduate. I'm an economics graduate. I have a BSc in economics, but I sort of stumbled into advertising. I found it really, really, I won't say boring, but I didn't really enjoy economics back in university. And I did an elective in my tonal level. I did an elective in marketing. And it was probably like the best thing I ever did. Marketing was easy to understand. It was very practical. And it was very easy to ace. You could get like A's in 3 unit courses, in that kind of course. So that was like the eye opener for me. And I kept on reading marketing textbooks and I stumbled on advertising. I literally go to the library instead of reading econometrics and policies and whatnot. I just picked the marketing textbook, the advertising textbooks, looked at the ads that were there, the billboards and all that. And that pretty much fueled my passion and desire to get into advertising. I wanted to do my final year topic in advertising, and my supervisor warned me that, look, if you want to graduate, you better pick a topic that's in line with what you're doing. But anyway, I after I left, it was like a lifelong mission to get into the industry, and I did, and it's been wonderful. It's been rewarding. It's been quite interesting. Advertising, as we know, it's a storytelling medium. You tell a brand story in a very interesting, heartfelt, concise way. And we were pretty much exposed to four basic mediums, at least back in the day when I started. There was print, there was TV, there was outdoor, and my personal favorite, radio. I mean, I love radio. Immediately I knew there was a medium called radio. And I've had the opportunity to see these mediums evolve into something different, or morph into something different, and also have newer mediums being added to the mix, the marketing mix, if you want to call it that. I think when I started was just smack in the period where social media became big. The social media revolution started, and all brands were having Facebook accounts. It was beautiful to learn how to write for core advertising, writing a print ad that will be in a newspaper, writing a few words that you put on an outdoor billboard. and trying to morph your talents, to learn how to write for social media, which was new, and that was pretty much like the rise of content calendar, what they call content bucket these days, and all that. So the mediums of advertising also evolved, and with that, you naturally had to evolve your skill sets, how to evolve your level of thinking, and what have you. I think it was also about the time where skits started getting popular. So and online, advertising became, started becoming a thing, and we had to find ways of, morphing from traditional way of thinking to, newer online type kind of ways of, thinking, and that was just very beautiful to watch and see. I think part of the innovations that also helped, probably just highlight one or two of them, and it's a trend that is still happening. I think at that point we saw a shift from TV commercials to online videos. It was smack at that point where GT Bank and Indani started doing, the wonderful things they did back then with Officer Titus, Frank Donga, the interview, and those online videos. So those were newer channels to tell our stories. You couldn't watch any of those things by Indani and not literally see GT Bank in it. So those were pretty much nice storytelling, mediums that evolved. Print also sort of like evolved to social media posts. So as against learning how to write conventional copywriting, you also needed to learn how to write for social media. So writing for socials became a thing. You have to be witty, you have to be sharp, especially if you're writing on Twitter. And I think the biggest also was outdoor. I think back then, the medium was strictly static boards, and I had the opportunity to see it evolve to things like LED boards. Today we have tons and tons of LED boards. We never could really tell so much in terms of stories or brand stories with a static billboard. You had just a maximum of 6 to 7 words, to slam on the billboard. But with LED boards, you could literally tell more stories. And one case in point, an example, because I like giving case studies, just to put things in context. I think it was around 2017, we did a campaign for Johnny Walker, and I'm sure we all know Johnny Walker here. And Johnny Walker is all about personal progress. That's why their mantra and slogan is, keep walking. It's a very, very beautiful slogan. So we wanted to adapt the campaign and that mantra to, the local market, Nigeria here. And what we looked at was pretty much keep walking is a charge, to anyone to keep at it. We see you, you're doing okay. Just keep doing what you're doing. Everything will be all right. Everything will turn out fine eventually. So what we did, and that was probably like a beautiful way of using the newer models of, outdoor, out of home advertising, LED bulbs preferably. We did a campaign called I See You, and we used sort of like the GIF animation, and we had the phrase I see you static. Pretty much just stay there. And the next word was just like a dash, and that dash kept on changing to the different names of different people. So we pretty much tried to identify every single Nigerian basically. So we picked names from different backgrounds, different cultures, all the tribes in the country, and it just read, I see you, Wale, I see you, Tony, I see you, Gina, I see you, Debola. And it was really, really a beautiful campaign, pretty much like GIF animation. And it ended with, that message, keep walking. So I see you, Tony, I see you this, I see you that, keep walking. So we never could have done that with a static billboard. You can't tell as much as 20 names, or say 20 names or 50 names in a static board. That would never have happened. So the innovations also really helped push our level of creativity, if I can call it that. And it's still doing it today. It's still pushing it today. We have things that we call experiential advertising, which is another way of reaching consumers outside, out of home. So it's not just outdoor, but there's also an experiential leg to it. And the mediums just keep on morphing. And I think, just like, the industry, just have to keep on staying attuned to, the changes that happen. So it's been an interesting part. It's been an interesting journey so far, and I'm grateful I'm on it. I'm grateful I went through it.
Great. Thank you very much. Ayo. Listening to you, brings one's mind to how far we've come in the creative industry. And you
Right.
took us through the route of marketing and advertisement, and you talked about the different things that has happened from the evolution of Facebook to, the several social media, platforms that we use today. And you also mentioned skit making, television commercials, now going to online commercials
Right.
for these platforms, and we also had content created around YouTube and all of that. Great, brilliant way to give us more like a time capsule of how we've evolved in the past almost 2 decades now, or thereabouts, right? Thank you very much, Ayo. I'm still going to come back to you because I like us to talk about it's one thing for us to talk about the overview of the evolution of the industry, but now in the current age or present times that we are, we're having developments, for instance, like AI,
Right.
developments like content management tools, augmented reality or virtual
Yeah.
reality that helps
Yeah.
us to do whatever we're doing. For instance, we're using Twitter Spaces, and I'm not in Lagos. You're in Lagos. Someone is in South
Mm.
Africa, Gina, and we also have Desire, who is in Abuja. So we're going to talk about all of these tools and how we can, incorporate them in what we're doing as audio creators. Let me move to
Right.
Desire quickly. And Desire, I have a very similar question, for you, but I'd like you to, tilt a bit towards the audio space. Ayo talk more about the creative space generally in terms of advertising and all of that. But in the audio space, which a lot of us here can relate to, I also relate to the audio space because I'm a voiceover artist and I'm a podcaster. So I like you to talk about your evolution. You're also a music person, right? So the evolution that you've been able to, how you started your career to, and the way you were able to infuse what I would call maybe technology or innovations and trends to push yourself to the next level. Just for reference, a quick example is when I started radio, the kind of tools that we used on radio back then to transmit. I remember meeting some stations that would use things like virtual DJ, right, for a normal production. I mean, radio um, show or whatever it is. But then we started learning about the likes of what's mine. I resigned from radio 2 years ago, guys, so I'm sorry, but there were a couple of softwares that came and just made the work easier and faster. So I like us to make certain reference. Jazzla, that's what I was looking for. We also had radio something, radio box or something. I forgot it, guys. So Desire, let's hear from you. A very similar question. Your journey so far and how you've been able to evolve with the innovations in the industry. Over to you, Desire.
Okay, thank you for the question. So, for me, I started audio, basically as a hobby. I did not ever think that it would be, the main stuff for me. So, one of the things that fascinated me, from when I was really young, was the concept behind, a speaker and a battery. I don't know how many of us tried that experiment when we were like really young. The fact that I could get current from a battery into a speaker, through magnets, through the cables, and I'm able to get sound. It was just really fascinating. I mean, one time I I took it up a notch. When I was really young, I decided to try, what those earpieces. I don't know how many of us remember Palito radios. My apologies for those that are not in Nigeria. I used to love radio. I mean, I still love radio. Not just that I don't listen to it as much as I used to when I was like really young. So I took, the Palito earpiece, I put it into into an extension, but thankful to God I'm alive. Nothing happened to me. So after that, it just became something that I was always drawn to. From concerts to working with artists, working with podcasters and all. Um, Now coming to innovations that have happened over the years, I want to take us back 20 years. So we have gone from taking analog audio into digital and making it consumer friendly. So there's this event that happens every year called the Consumer Electronics Show. It happens every year. So they have um, different sectors of tech, they display whatever they want to, display. So you have companies like Google, Facebook, and all. Then there are other companies that are in the audio industry, and they display what they have to, every year. And one of the things that really struck me this year is most of the products that are being created these days are centered towards people that have hearing problems or hearing difficulties. You understand? Because and it was a great thing for me because no matter what happens, even if you go blind, even if you're disabled, one of the things for me, one of the greatest part of my body, or the best part of my body, is my ears. The ability to be able to hear sound, to be able to understand the way things are, and be able to fine tune them to how it's supposed to be. You understand? The human ear is probably able to hear from 20 hertz to about 20 kilohertz, and the older we grow, the lesser the spectrum of frequencies we can hear. You understand? So now imagine people who have hearing problems. You have companies like Scienta, you have companies like Sony, creating products that what's it called now, consumer friendly, over the counter hearing aids. And the beautiful thing about some of this technology is people think now. Let me run you through the way active noise cancellation works. Most people think active noise cancellation is a pretty straightforward thing. That's why most times when I see products and I see active noise cancellation, I see the price tag on it, I am somewhat I usually have my reservations, because how can you tell me your active noise cancellation is good and your product is selling at this, very low price? So it works in a way that you have two microphones in your earpieces. One measures the surround sound, like everything happening around you, and it calculates how it's supposed to reduce the surround sound and send it to you. So for people that have hearing problems, they are able to, those companies fine tune those products in such a way that the surround sound is able to blend with whatever they are hearing. So it's not too loud, it's not too low, it's just perfect, for the ears. And a lot of people, don't understand how important their ears. I mean, we all know that without the ear, there will be no balance in the body. So it's just beautiful seeing some of these things, and there was an article I read, some years back, and it's beautiful to see how a lot of companies are implementing this. So for instance, every appliance in your house vibrates at a particular frequency, and we all know that frequencies are what music is, basically frequencies, different frequencies, being put together. Even our voices are considered instruments. They are not just our voice. So every appliance in your house vibrates at a particular frequency. So it's understood that when there is a, how do I put it now? When there is an imbalance in your body, it's possible that there is a particular appliance in your house that does not resonate with every other appliance in your house. So, I mean, say for instance, you have the key of C and you have the 135 chord. I'm sorry for those that don't really understand music, and you have the 135 chord that makes, the C. Those are the component notes in the key of C, and you have an appliance that does not resonate around that. It causes an imbalance in your body. You understand? So you see people that create products, they are creating smart home products. They want to make sure that everything is in sync. So it's just it's no it's so little, but then it's so big, because a lot of people that don't understand how these things work would think, oh, it's just that's how it's supposed to be. But these are part of the things that influences our emotions in the house. When we go out, and it's also believed that just the same way your house vibrates at certain frequencies, houses around you, create. It's like a complete symphony. So when you go out, it's just like I like to call it the big symphony, like everything happening around you. You understand? So these are some of the things, happening that, a lot of people don't know about. The fact that there's Bluetooth 5.3 now, and we're able to get almost no latency between when we send audio from our phones to our wireless devices. Yes, because I mean, a lot of people don't know that there is usually latency. So when you hear there is something is wireless, it means that the time is getting to you is not when it's being sent. You understand? Then better audio buffer rates. We're getting better audio quality, and we now even have what was it called now? Digital platforms for music and podcasts. And I think it's a beautiful thing, and all these things put together. It's just a lot has happened, over the few years, and it's just it will just be so overwhelming to just put everything together, But these are some of the things that are making, the airwaves, how people are implementing sound design in virtual reality and on augmented reality. So when you're in a particular virtual space, you're not just seeing the virtual space, you're also able to hear, your surround sound, the way it's supposed to be, when you're in the real world, Dolby Atmos or digital surround sound and all those kind of things. So yeah, these are some of the things, happening. Yeah. Thank you.
Wow, Desire. That was awesome. What a presentation. You took us through the audio space, and for a moment there I was like, I never knew many of these things were happening, and it's great, it's refreshing, it's insightful to hear about the audio aid technology, the noise cancellation technology. On the surface we just think these things are, they're just cheap, they just happen, but a lot of thought process goes into them. You also mentioned low latency, in the wireless technology for Bluetooth with the latest development in that area, buffer rates, digital platforms, podcasts. It was great hearing all of that, and I'm sure that you still have so much more, including as well as Ayo. I know that the question was just one and direct, so you had to merge all of this into one. We could still explore some of the things that you've researched and you're willing to share with us. But before I engage the both of you now, I want to move to Gina. And Gina is the only female here. Boom, I should have said ladies first, but don't worry. It's like when they say you reserve the best for the last. Gina, it's nice to have you here. And I want us to talk about your experience in the creative space. You've been active in South Africa. You've worked with some of the big music brands. You've worked with some of the big ad companies and all of that, and you've learned a lot, and you also have your creative company which is Be Digital. So what has that experience been like, just like the previous two gentlemen that have spoken? How have you been able to incorporate the innovations and trends in your industry, in your country, and reason to where Gina is today? Feel free to explore whatever it is that you're conversant with, be it social media, the platforms, or whatever it is that you use. So Gina, over to you. Please go
Okay,
ahead.
great. Wow, that's quite a very interesting question. Okay, where do I start? From the very beginning, right? So yeah, being in the creative industry, especially just the way internet changed things for us, especially when it comes to everything being digital and me specifically just working online like 24/7. What I've realized is times change, but technology changes even 10 times faster than us. There's always new innovations coming into play. There's always this new software that you can use, or they could be like specific softwares or specific tools that you use, but there is always a new competition that will affect that particular software that you use. So you have to constantly be up to date. You have to constantly keep on doing research. You have to constantly see what the trends are for that particular service, for example, and then upgrade yourself. So, sorry, excuse me, guys. I'm just at home. I don't know what's happening in the corridor, but I hope it's not affecting what I'm trying to say.
At all, just go on.
Okay. Okay, cool. So yeah, as I was saying, you just have to keep on learning. It's like a never ending journey where you have to constantly train yourself, constantly read on the latest tech blogs, understanding what's happening. And to fast forward to up to date now, there is something called Chat GPT. I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but in the digital marketing sphere or just in the whole internet sphere, it's a new AI tool that you can use. And most of the digital marketing people or even content creators have been taking advantage of it because it's still free for now, even though there are speculations that you can actually be charged on a monthly basis to use it. However, I would say it's a miracle because as someone who's doing digital marketing, you have to constantly create that smart text. You have to constantly create something intriguing, something that's eye-catching, something that's going to have somebody read what you're sharing, and then eventually go to the call to action and then sign up or register or buy or view whatever that you are trying to achieve. So it's a constant journey of understanding how these things work. And like I mentioned, ChatGPT is incredible. It's like my highlight. I'm having fun. I'm having the best time of my life. It's like the latest trend that is taking the world by storm right now. All right. So, guys, you should actually just go check it out after this, in case you're not aware of it already. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can say for now. Thanks.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Gina. I still want to engage you a little bit more. You mentioned Chat GPT. I'm also very much aware about Chat GPT. I feel a couple of us here might have heard it and we're using it. And like you said, I also feel it's a miracle. It has stunned a lot of experts in the industry, not just creative industry, but the world generally. It's like another version of Google, but this time around something that seems like an humanoid version that is able to relate with you. You can ask it direct questions and it gives you direct answers and all of that. How do you think this is going to affect our industry? Not necessarily, well, the creative industry in general. And if you want to speak to the audio industry as well, you can as well do that. So, how do you think it's going to affect us in the coming years if this kind of technology is made free and widely accessible, if they're able to stabilize it, because I know that there's still a couple of work they're doing on it at the moment.
Okay, so to be honest with you, I being on a positive side of things, I'd say that it's saving a lot of people a lot of time. However, it's also replacing a lot of high value skills. I'm talking about copywriters. I'm talking about just, creativity, strategies. This bot literally gives you everything, anything you ask for. If you don't know about it, just also spend some time, just go on TikTok. TikTok will give you like full detail without any filter. It will show you exactly what this does. So to answer your question, when it comes to our industry, there are a lot of AI softwares that generate voiceovers that sound realistic. You cannot even tell the difference between a bot and a human, which is a little alarming because then we still want to be relevant, but the way things look right now, it appears as if these bots are really taking over everything. As much as we watched all those movies by Will Smith and all those crazy robot movies, if you really dig deeper, it will take you down the rabbit hole, which is quite alarming. I don't want to scare anybody, but I'm also just like overwhelmed with how AI has drastically changed. It literally took a leap of over 50 years, for example.
Gina, are you there? I can't hear you. Or is it just me? Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yes,
hear.
yes, I can hear you.
Okay, okay. So
I think we
Gina, can
lost
we hear
Gina.
Gina?
I think we lost her for a minute there.
Oh, quite unfortunate. So hopefully, Gina, if you can hear us, you may need to go out and come back again. We're enjoying the conversation. Great, great reflection there about this technology. And I'm going to move back to Ayo and Desire. Of course, you're not new to ChatGPT. Personally, in my own research, I discovered some other innovations that are currently happening. Obviously, we know of the AI voices in the voiceover industry, but then a lot of voice actors, for the most part, I've seen, we're very confident that these things cannot take our jobs because we say that they cannot express themselves with the kind of nuances that humans express themselves in speech. They cannot express any kind of emotions and all of that. But while doing my research on ChatGPT, I also discovered that they have a technology they're working on. It's called Whisper, and Whisper is about almost the same thing you have for ChatGPT, but for the audio. And it's an automated speech recognition system that enables transcription in multiple languages. I listened to a sample on the website, and what struck me about what that technology can do is how, other AI voices that I've heard so far, the way they speak, you wouldn't perceive so much of breath sounds because they are so filtered and so clean, well programmed. But for Whisper, if the person is, I mean, if the AI is speaking fast, you would hear the breath. You would hear it's like it's simulated to how a human would speak. When you're speaking, there is also respiration attached to how you produce sounds. So, with that kind of technology in place, I felt, wow, these guys are closer to understanding how we create emotions with our voices. Who knows what happens in the next 20, 30 years? Maybe that's even a far shot, maybe the next 10 years. But same applies to Microsoft. They have a new technology AI that can simulate anyone's voice with just 3 seconds of audio. So we can say, for lack of a better word, they're moving. This technology is moving mad. But what do you guys think? Both of you are both active players in the industry, Ayo and Desire. Let me start with Ayo. About these technologies that we've mentioned and other ones you've observed, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay, yeah, it's a loaded question, and it's an interesting question also. ChatGTP, I tried it out a couple of days ago. It's sick. Let's not, sugarcoat it. It's very wild and it's quite in depth. I actually tried it with a dummy task. I asked it to write a radio commercial for me, but I'll come back to that briefly. First thing I want to say is AI, augmented reality, voice cloning, and what have you. Like, let's just tag them as technological advancements. And there will always be technological advancements. So let's accept that as a fact. There's nothing we can do about it. We can't change it. I know there's a lot of anxiety in the air, like, these AI things will begin to replace us, taking the share out of our, source of livelihood or getting us out of our jobs or what have you. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. It's possible, but I think we need to accept the fact that, one, there will always be technological advancements and disruptions. Technology will always disrupt. And I think once we accept that, we need, it helps us embrace it, faster, and we can get to work meaning two things. Either we find a way to coexist with these technologies, and by coexisting I mean finding ways to still maintain a source of livelihood side by side with the technologies. Or B, if we can't coexist with them, then we'll probably need to morph into something different, something new. A classic example is audiobooks. I think no one would have ever thought probably in the last 10, 15, 20 years, no one would have ever thought it would be anything like audiobooks. But audiobooks is still, it's a thing and it's getting really popular. But it hasn't totally cannibalized paperback books or hardcover books. And it's coexisting side by side nicely. There's still people publishing paperback books, and audiobooks are still getting, very, very popular and being published. So that's an example of, coexisting. It's opened a new space of, opportunities for voice actors, a new way for people to listen to books and read books on the go, and all that kind of stuff. So those are the things that I'm talking about coexisting. Now, the other option is maybe, you may just need to evolve into something entirely different and something entirely new. So ChatGTP, I did try it, and I did a dummy test, write me a radio commercial for a bank. include a Nigerian slang. I just played around with it that way, include a Nigerian slang and make it funny. And within 60 seconds, it came up with something. And I mean, I was giving credit for 60 seconds. I haven't written a commercial in 60 seconds. I've written a 60-second commercial, but I haven't done it in 60 seconds. No, not yet. I don't think anyone has ever done that, really. And I was wowed by the speed, first and foremost, and it took me a few seconds to, just get out of that zone. And I think after 30 seconds later, and I read the script properly. I read it. I brought in my whole years of experience in advertising. I critiqued it, and I found out that it was just a pile of trash. I'm sorry to say. It was like the most banal or pedestrian type of radio commercial, writing in terms of script writing that I've seen or heard. And I'm not trying to belittle what ChatGTP can do. I'm sure if you query it like 2-3 times, it will come up with multiple scenarios. Where am I getting at? At the end of the day, the bots and the AI and what have you still can do one thing, which is finding out human insights. So in advertising, there's something we call insights. Finding pockets of truths and pockets of things that are true to human beings and things that you can latch onto and create great big ideas from. Like Johnny Walker now, like I gave an example, keep walking. That's an inspirational statement. It's at the core of every human being. Every human being wants to advance to the next curve. We want to blow, we want to make that money, we want to, trend and all that kind of stuff. So finding insights is something I don't think the bots can do yet or ChatGTP can do yet. And it's still going to require some human effort. So I don't think it will ever, for now, I don't think it will still be, because you will still need some human efforts. When I looked at the script, fine, it gave me something in very, very short period of time. It gave me something to work with. And I think that's sort of like the base. And that's what Gina said. It saves time. So the time in which you would have been able to think or brainstorm, hours of brainstorming is sort of like reduced. But you're still going to need like to work on what ChatGTP does for you. And it even puts it there. This is still just a dummy or what. There's a way to phrase it. Feel free to adapt to your own specification. So it's just a base for you to keep doing, to get something out really, really fast, and then go back to your drawing board or go back, roll up your sleeves and put pen to paper, put some finessing into it and all that. So should we be worried or scared? Yeah, it's a cost to be a bit worried, for writers, for bloggers and what have you. But I don't think it will totally replace the human touch. I highly, for now, I highly doubt it that it will replace human touch. So it's just like car wash, for instance. You have the automated car wash. We don't have much of them down here. And you have the manual car wash. People still prefer, the manual car wash is still more effective than the automated one, because the automated exactly. So the manual, you get the guys going deep into the corners, using their hands and brushes and all that. But the automated is just pretty much 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and it's all done. So I don't think we will ever get to the point where we will never ever need
the human input.
Human input.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ayo. I think that gives hope to a lot of listeners right now. And you're quite right in how you analyzed it, because these AIs cannot do everything absolutely. All right, let me move to Gina. Gina is back with us, and I need to engage Gina for the next perhaps 10 minutes because she'll be leaving for one or two reasons. So Gina, welcome back. You brought into our conversation ChatGPT, which is not something anyone can avoid talking about right now if we're talking about technological trends and innovations in the creative industry. However, it's not all to it to what we're discussing. So I'd like to ask a question that just takes a detour from that particular topic. Let's talk about branding a little bit before you leave. I'll still get back to you, Desire, and I know you have your own thoughts on ChatGPT, which I'm willing to hear about. To you, Gina, branding has been pitched as an innovative approach for creators. So what would you say is or are the best ways to brand our creativity? You can answer this as it relates to creators generally or audio creators.
Okay, great question. So, I would say before anybody starts anything, especially if you want to start a channel, you want to start a podcast, you want to start a business, you just want to be out there and let people know about you, branding should be on top of your priority. If you have a budget, great. You can have somebody actually design something really unique according to what you are trying to say. Because the most important thing is, as a creator, you need to have people to see you first and understand exactly what you represent. So, most cases, your branding speaks for you before somebody else actually knows who is behind it, right? So, now when it comes to that, it's the design, it's the color concept, it's how you just put everything together to be the face of whatever that you're going to let out to the world. So, I will always say this: branding is the most important thing, and one should sit down, decide exactly, and understand what exactly are they trying to provide, the service, the product, whatever they're trying to create. The best way to have a reach is to make sure that your message is communicated properly through your branding. So, for example, my business, right? I started designing websites when I was only 15, and I only registered my company 10 years after that. Before, I was just working for other people. And that 10 years of experience made me think deeply. And I knew that if I am to attract new people into my business, I have to make them understand that I will make them become digitally involved. So the name Be Digital came from, okay, let me make you digital or become digital. Let me design a website for you. Let me put you online. Let me help you find the people that are actually looking for the services that you're offering, right? So that is how Big Digital came into play. And to also give references to other logos, for example, Nike or Adidas or Coca-Cola, all those big brands, there is something unique about them that will draw you from choosing Coca-Cola or choosing Pepsi. Or, for example, picking a Nike shoe rather than an Adidas or a Puma. It is all within the branding. And also, just making sure that you are speaking directly to the type of people that you're looking for. Your niche, does it match what you're trying to relate to people? Are you going to communicate with them directly? Are they going to see you? It's a lot of things that makes up the brand, and having consultations or just spending some time understanding your product and doing research. And also, one big important thing, understanding your audience, your targeted audience. What kind of people are they? Look at the demographics. How old are they? What kind of things do they like? If you are trying to put together a luxurious brand, you do some research. What are the colors that work well with luxurious stuff? You find that, you find the font, you put everything together, do different tests, and see what actually works. So I hope I've answered your question.
Oh, great! You just give us what I would call more like a crash course into the importance of branding for our present day endeavors or for entrepreneurs, which is great. Um, Moving forward, you've answered the question to innovations. You've also answered the question to branding, and we have probably just 5 minutes to keep you here. So I'll just ask you a very straightforward question. Obviously, you maybe have other things you wanted to touch on, but the questions I've asked did not reflect some of these things. So if there are other things you want to highlight before we let you go that you've not had the chance to talk about, you can go on and tell us about it. So Gina, over to you now.
Okay. I think you've covered pretty much everything. And as much as I have to rush, I am so sorry, guys. I had the confusion with the timing. So I had something booked for like the next 5 minutes. However, I appreciate that I managed to come on and even share my ideas right away. So I think Yeah, I am happy with the questions. I don't think you've missed out anything. I'm definitely
Hmm.
happy and excited though that this is happening, because at least we can keep a library of this, we can keep memories of this, so that
Yeah.
even people that are going to come and listen, they will know that these are humans and this is not AI. I don't I can't remember where I dropped off when I was having the chat GPT conversation. But anyway, I'm just overwhelmed with that. And I just think, yeah, as much as we are having an understanding of what's happening, but deep down, guys, like as I said, there's a rabbit hole to this robotics thing. And there's a lot of people that don't know. I had the privilege to access ChatGPT in November 2022, and I know it only blew up like the second week of January for most people, right? Now, it's not the same as it used to be back then, because obviously there's been measures put into place because of certain alarms that have been raised, right? So now this is just an AI you're chatting to. However, there are other robotics that are being developed for other things. But anyway, that's not the discussion for now. With regards to the innovations in the creative industry, I think, yeah, I'm glad I've answered your questions. If there's anything, you can let me know. Otherwise, that's it. I appreciate this so much, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Gina. Nothing much really. It's good to have Gina from South Africa join us on this conversation. And speaking of South Africa and the Nigeria collaboration, that brings me to Big Brother, the Umzanzi Wahala edition going on right now. I mean that it a detour. Let's just say off topic. Is it something that you're following before we get back to this serious conversation?
Okay, let me just answer. I am not following it, but I'm definitely writing it on my blog, and it's bringing juicy traffic. So I'm also getting
Uh,
paid for that. So I'm grateful that there's something talking, or something that people are always talking about. I always jump onto that wagon. So I cannot complain. There's always traffic for that. And once you learn to monetize the content and the juice, then you won't have any problem with anything.
Smart move, smart move. Thank you very much, Gina. It's been a nice time having you here. I'll get back to Ayo and Desire. Yeah. So, okay, let's get back to the discussion, guys. We've been talking about ChatGPT, and Gina has just brought my mind to monetizing content. We would be rounding off real soon, but let's talk about these two things: the technological innovations and talking about monetizing content as well. Podcasters, a lot of podcasters are here, even voiceover artists, and we have companies that are coming in. We have Spotify investing big time into the audio industry, podcasting industry, and all of that. So, Desire, let me come to you. I'd like you to share your thoughts on the things that we've been talking about so far, the chat GPT, the AI innovations, and then your thoughts regarding monetizing of content, the possibilities for that, in this age and time that a lot of investments is coming into the industry. So I know it's a lot of questions. Take your time. You can answer one and we'll go back to the other one. So, Desire, over to you now.
All right. Thank you. So, about Chat GPT, yes, I like to my thoughts are somewhat similar to some of the things that Ayo talked about. Yes, it's something to be worried about. Yes, but then you can't take away the fact that the human intelligence or the human input is really needed. Then about monetizing content, yes. Before we even talk about monetizing content, there was something Gina said, about if you have good content. So I think one of the things, one of the trends that people would look out for, from this year is a lot of creators now, not just audio creators, a lot of creators will be taking audio seriously. So I feel like a lot of people, especially video creators, they just create videos, and it feels like audio is an afterthought. And most times in my head, I'm like, how do you expect people to relate with what you're saying? I've had to listen to people's podcasts before. They they're talking to their audience like they're talking to their, I don't know, their spouses. They're like, "Hi guys, welcome to my, this is another episode of so." And in my head, I'm like, "Is this one serious?" Do you get so? Before we even talk about monetizing, podcast and audio content, I think people need to understand uh, how important getting their content right, or getting their content together is, because the truth is, before television became a thing, before the internet, there was radio. I remember while I was growing up, there used to be this um, radio show. I think it was on Ray Power. So I can't remember, on Saturday afternoons, or I think Saturday mornings into afternoon. They used to have this radio drama, and in as much as we couldn't see anything, by the things we were hearing, like, we could picture the whole thing. So these are some of the things I feel people need to, you know, look into. Like, go back to the basics. Put your script together, because I just feel like, because some people have the thought that, okay, podcasts should be unscripted. Yes, it should be unscripted. Doesn't mean that it shouldn't have a pattern. It shouldn't have something to work. A roadmap. You understand? So it's why it's tiring sometimes to to see people creating audio content, and they don't put a lot of thought into it. They don't create how it's supposed to sound, and how they're supposed to engage their listener in every line, and stuff like that. I have worked on sound design for movies, and these are some of the things that they use to capture the person watching. It's not just about the dialogue, it's not just about what is going on, but there are other things that you're hearing that is also affecting your perception towards the movie. You understand? Like, gunshots here and there, and we all know that it's not like they use actual guns and all. So, coming back to the question, yes, yes, getting your audio quality is important. Then also, monetizing your content. Now, I won't say I wouldn't say that there is. Correct me if I'm wrong. I wouldn't say that there is a particular pattern, in which podcasts should be monetized. It doesn't work like the way artists earn from streaming. You just put your song on a platform, and as people are listening, you're getting money for it. I don't know if that's technology is here yet, or if there is a platform for us to do that yet. But um, we people can explore the fact that, okay, there is affiliate marketing. You can introduce that into your podcast. There is, just like the way people do it for their YouTube channels. Brands approach them, and they're able to sell other people's products on their podcast or on their YouTube shows, and stuff like that. So those are part of the things that I feel like a lot of podcasters are not really leveraging. But I know it also comes down to the fact that they have to have an audience. Which takes me back to the fact that your content should be very good. It should be very engaging. When once somebody listens to it, it's amazing, and stuff like that. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Desire. That's great. Before we talk about money, we need to talk about content and value.
Yes.
Great insights, Desire. We're coming to the end of this, and as I said in the beginning, we can request the mic. So I make you a speaker so you can make contributions, or you can ask questions from our hosts, I mean, from our guests, and, say one or two things that relates to the latest trends and innovation in the creative industry. Ayo, you've also been on the wait scene for quite a while. I
Yeah.
know you also have certain thoughts to share, so I'd let you share some of those thoughts. And add to that is that, what are your projections for the audio industry and the creative industry for 2023? And we don't necessarily need to limit it to 2023. We could just say in the coming years. So, yeah, what
Okay.
are your thoughts? And let's just make it as brief as possible because we've crossed the
Yeah.
1 hour mark. Yeah, go on.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. So briefly on monetizing, just to touch on what Desire said. Totally agree with him about getting your content right first. I always say the idea is the most important part of your podcast. Like there are a gazillion and one podcasts out there. So what makes yours stand out? And there are many formats of podcasts that many people are not exploring. I think everyone's pretty much goes with the conversational. You have a guest. I mean, it's the easiest to do. I mean, it doesn't require too much in terms of financial overlay. It's easy to to get right. I mean, and some people can actually make conversations really really interesting. But there are other types of formats that can be explored. Solo cast. The Young God is one classic example, and it does it beautifully. Fictional type. So I think the idea is always, for me personally, and coming from the background of advertising, I think your idea is solid. You can have a dope idea, and your podcast can go places, even if you don't have anyone monetizing or any source of funding for it. So idea first before every other thing. On monetizing, I always say let that be the last thing you think of. Yes, you need to make money, at some point, but I think focus on the craft first, focus on building a community, focus on building your people, let your podcast be sort of, a thing amongst people, and, unconsciously or consciously, people are going to start, brands are going to start, coming to you. There are things you can do to jumpstart it, making proposals and going after the brands and all that, but no brand will jump if they don't see like numbers, or what have you. So I think, let's focus on. I always tell people to focus on the craft and idea, on the idea first before thinking of monetizing. Uh, on projections for 2023, I always say it beats the hell out of me because now we are in the age of AI, augmented reality and all that. And I mean, I think probably we just sit back and prepare for what we watch in Black Mirror to begin to unfold gradually. And I think, but on a more serious note, I think technology and AI actually has more good to give than than drawbacks. I'll give one quick example quickly. And since we're all in the audio space, it's I think you talked about it, Tico, briefly, something about voice cloning and all that. There was a case study or like an initiative done in, I think it was somewhere in Europe, either Spain or so, and they did it for people with motor neuron disease, ALS. And one thing that happens to them when they have that is they lose their ability to talk, ability to speak. So Dell, in partnership with I think it was Intel or one of these big companies, decided to do something they call I am still who I am. You can Google it. I am still me. You can Google it on YouTube and all that. Beautiful audio-led initiative. And what it does basically is helps people with ALS, harvest and save their voices. So they created a book about 20 pages. You can read it in almost 10, 15 minutes. And the book has pretty much all the letters and vowels and syllables and all that. And once you read and record it, it saves your voice, and sort of like clones it. And whenever that time comes where you lose your voice or you can't talk again, you can't speak anymore, all you need to do with aided speed devices is just to type in what you want to say, and it brings it out audio wise with your voice, just like you are. I think that's probably one of the most beautiful things you can actually do with technology. And I think there's more good technology does for us than than drawbacks basically. So I think more to things like that. In the audio industry is being shifted and changed with technology. They also, Spotify did something with sick beats for people with multiple, which is, what was that disease again? I can't remember it. So there's a lot of good that technology can do for us. So projections wise, I think we should brace up, get ready for things that we never really imagined. I can't pinpoint them, to be honest. But I think it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be beautiful to see, and like I said earlier, it's going to be interesting to see how we can coexist with them. Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my, thank you so much, Ayo. You've said a lot in just these few minutes. I want you to give us that when I say website or what you mentioned about the speech cloning thing. How
Yeah,
can we get it? Yeah.
if you just Google YouTube, I am still me. That's the name. I am still me by Dell. Just Google it on YouTube, or just type it in Google. It bring out like a case video, and you can just watch it and see. I think it leans very well towards, and I think if we look at it very well, and that's what I say about seeing how we can coexist. There are lots of opportunities for voice actors with that technology. There are lots of opportunities for people in the audio space. So finding ways and just accepting technology and just finding ways to coexist is pretty much the way to move forward with technology.
Thank you. I couldn't agree less. We need to find more ways to coexist with technology and use it for our benefit. All right, guys. This is 1 hour plus 11 minutes into the conversation, and we're ready to start saying our goodbyes. Like I said before, if you want to make a contribution or just say one or two things, because there wouldn't be time to take questions anymore, you can ask for the mic and I'll let you speak. However, I want to appreciate everyone that has been here so far. I got Guy Greta. Guy Greta, is nice to have you in the space. Bidemi has also been here. Divine also joined. Namcheja joined. Chiamaka he's here. We had a couple of other people who were here previously, but then they're out of the room now. But the good thing is that you can listen again and again and learn again. Thank you, Guy Greta. I see the love emoji. Desire, before we go, your parting words, just one or two things that you need to let out, and then we call it a wrap. Okay, I don't know if you're still there, if you can hear us, Desire.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. Yes. So I think.
Hmm. I think the network from
Can you hear
Desire
me?
is we can, but then you're lagging. Your voice rather, the audio from your end.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Anybody home?
Okay, I think Desire is finding it difficult to hear us or communicate with us. So
Hello.
I think okay, Desire, if you can hear me, I would come back to you. I just want Ayo to say his parting words, and then maybe I'll come back to you. By then, your internet would have been more stable. So, Ayo, you can give us your parting words now.
Okay, cool. What? Okay, go on there, Desire.
Disconnecting.
Okay, not much to say
Yeah, go on.
really, but thanks a lot for listening to us. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking about these kind of things, and I can literally go on and on and on about audio and stuff like that. So thank you very much for the opportunity. It's been a pleasure talking. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Um, great. So, Desire, I'm trying to make you a speaker now. If you can speak or mute your mic so we can hear you.
Yeah. Is it better now?
Great.
Oh.
So, your final
Oh
words.
yes. I'm so excited. About the things that are going to come our way. This year. Some of the innovations, technology that I can't wait to get my hands on. And use and be able to create and tell people's stories better, because it's going to be a great year. And I'm also grateful for the opportunity to be able to share all this with everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Desire. It's been amazing having you, and thank you too for accepting to be on this space today. Same as Ayo Moore and Gina Tigere from South Africa, who had to leave before now. And thanks to everyone that has been listening so far. Just before we end the room, a few announcements I'd like to make is that now available on our website on the APVA Hub page are sector-related global news and insights, articles written by APVA team, opportunities and events. So you can check frequently for updates. You can read articles on voiceovers, on podcasting, on spoken words, and generally the creative industry or audio-related content. We also recently launched a podcast production program, and this is the final week of applications. So we would like to officially announce that, well, the applications have ended because today is Friday, and you can watch out for the opportunities that would follow after that on our website. Our website is apva.africa, and if you're going to look for opportunities specifically, you go to apva.africa/opportunities. You can find us online on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, or access our resources on our website. So thank you all for being a part of this space. I see the sound baker, that's Femi Biggs, join us as well. Thank you for being here. Divine Namcheja, I hope I called that correctly. Bidemi is here as well. Oh, my co-host. Can you imagine? I wasn't even so much aware that Rena, the creator, was the co-host here. Apologies for that, Rena, but nice to have you here too. And thank you to APVA for making this possible. All right, guys. So this is it for our first edition of Hangouts with APVA for 2023. And we would be announcing further Hangouts where we'd have guests like this speak on important issues or topics in the audio creative space in Africa. My name is Tolu Kolade. You call me T Code. And it's been a pleasure being the host for the event tonight. And on this note, I'm saying goodnight to everyone, and I'll say keep doing what you can in your audio creative space, and also find out ways you can work or coexist with technology as we have learned tonight. All right, guys. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the episode. Become a member of APVA today. Visit apva.africa to learn more.